I'll find you anyway, and I'll come and visit you sometime.
Yeah, you know, it's.
I know that I've tried to ring you a couple of times.
Oh, I'm a bit hard to catch.
Yeah, better. Yeah, so I didn't know if the phone works in where you live or whatever. Anyway,
It depends on where I am, you know. Like if it works fine at the home, but if I'm out and about, it's different. All right.
Right,
I'll catch you.
It's good seeing you.
You too.
And I'm pleased to see you've got a real man's motorcycle.
Don't be like that. The Harley's a good bike. Tilly, got a whole trainer. See you, mate. Righto. Righto. So here we are, just leaving Tullamore on our way home from the Cairn rally put on by the BMW Touring Club of New South Wales, as said. The bike is still handling evenly, but after a while you just go with it a bit. I got an Alan Penny kid. He was kind enough to take it for a test ride. And when he came back, he said he thinks the subframe and everything is fine. But the front end is possibly the issue. It's the steering diameter is too short and the rake is too steep. You know, I never even thought much about that because it's got the leading link front end. I just assumed someone put one on and knew what they were doing. Now this one is also not adjustable, so you can't move it back, the axle back or forward, you know. So, and also the forks, as such as they are with a leading link front end, they've been pushed through the top yoke about 15 mils, which is also shortening it as well. So it's steering way too quickly, which I did comment on a while ago in a recent video when I got off the Harley and then rode this, and I went out the front gate and went wee, like it's like it turns so quickly, and he reckons that it's just overreacting all the time, which is possible. Still needs a bit more to it than that, but that's a good starting point. So the rally was interesting. Caught up with Gaz and Rick G, some of the K-bike boys, and they're good blokes, you know. Known them for, I don't know, 10, 12 years or whatever. Possibly longer. Andrew from Queensland as well. Alan Murray Pennykid, who more or less put this particular rally on, I suppose. You know, I think Michael from Sydney was there as well. Another K-bike rider. He's got one of Roscoe's old bikes. Roscoe's first K-bike, I think. He made into a sort of a capo racer. Put twin headlights on it. And made the finish all brushed alloy, which didn't look too bad actually. You know, it becomes noticeable though that, you know, I'm one of the younger rally attendees these days, you know. Young people just don't do that sort of stuff. There are less and less young people riding motorcycles for a start, and the ones that do tend to ride certain ways, you know, like they live in Sydney, they go up and down the Pacific Highway with their full leathers and all that, or down the national park. They rarely sort of go into the hardcore touring type stuff, you know. Ride as far as it takes to get a latte, if I'm going to be disrespectful. They don't put the miles in anymore. More evidence of society in decay. Look at this weather. Beautiful day. It's slightly cool. It wouldn't be 20 degrees. You know, potter along at this speed, 90 clicks is, you know, it makes you aware that it'll cruise nicely at 100 or 110 or something. In a top gear situation, like rolling on in top, it probably lacks the grunt of the Harley, but will go faster if I'm prepared to rev it, you know, and use the gearbox. That's what they do, you know, 4-cylinder and all that. And it's a relatively torquey motor for a 4. Anyway, the upshot of this little rally was it was really worth going to, just to get Al's opinion on things. And I feel optimistic again, like I've got a path to follow with it, some options to explore as far as sorting it out, because it'll run along nicely as a bit of a tourer, gentleman's tourer as I used to call it. Yeah, so you know, so that's sitting about 100 now, 4 grand, that's about right. You know, even if it starts handling suddenly really well, I wouldn't ride it much faster than this anyway, really, just more consistently around 100 or above instead of 90 and above, you know. And I wouldn't slow down and get off and push the bike around corners like I'm doing now. So I have the option, I can start by pushing the forks through, and that'll increase the trail slightly, or lessen it. I can't remember which way's which now. If that doesn't do much, I can drill holes in the actual bottom part of the leading link so I can move the axle further forward, or I can just take the front end off completely and put on standard forks. And I have a set of reconditioned ones that I got off Dave Reynolds a while ago, so that's another option. I mean, I rode the other K-bike with just the standard forks for a long time. You know, they do have their issues, as it were. They tend to get a bit of a chatter up, you know. But you can live with that. That tends to happen either if you know, have to brake hard, or you're at certain speeds over corrugated surfaces and stuff like that, you know. Silos. I don't know what you call those silos. They're not Tullamore, they're not Trundle. Somewhere in between. One thing about this, the way it is at the moment, it really doesn't like wind either. Crosswinds and whatever, you know. Which is, you know, an unfortunate situation considering that it's often windy out this way on the flatlands, you know. see what happens with the front end, see what difference that makes. Just get the feeling it won't cure everything, but you never know. bit of road, this one. In my memory, like, you know, in my head, this road from Tullamore to Trundle is a nice smooth bit of road. It's just not, is it? Probably a nice smooth bit of road in the Toyota. The Toyota. It is in fact rough as guts. No wonder they were following me for ages, but they're not really going much faster than me. When we get to Trundle, which is just a few clicks down the road, we're going to stop and because I'm busting for a piddle, and we'll go home. Funny bike, these K bikes, you know, the configuration of the 4 cylinders like a car, you know, and sometimes I think, oh, we're just going to wander off into the bush with no input from me whatsoever. I'm probably riding it faster than I should, you know. Anyway, yeah, like, I don't mind the Stone Tune muffler that's on it. Gives it a bit of an exhaust note, you know, but it really sounds like a 70s or rally car or something, like a Datsun 1600 or something. More than a, you know, wobbum of an inline 4, you know, transverse. See, they've got some grain stored there. I don't know, I'm assuming they'll go from there to Bogan Gate, but they don't seem to go via rail anymore as far as I can tell. I'm not, you know, sitting around watching them, but there seems to be a lot of trucks going to and from Bogan Gate rather than trains. I've never seen a train on any of these branch lines, you know. I tell you, it's not an easy thing to ride at the moment. You got to ride it the whole time. You know, you can't just switch off. It switches off as well. You know. Downtown Trundle. Now there's a public toilet somewhere in the main street, but I always forget exactly where it is. And we're at the stage now where we say, going to the toilet rather than hanging on too much longer. Sometimes when you got to go, you just got to go. Won't be long, Chico. You're a good girl, aren't you? You just wait there, I'll be back.